we have new information about the terrible weekend accident west of Albany, New York. 20 people were killed when a limo hit 2 pedestrians and a parked SUV. Bianna Goladriga is at the scene in Schoharie, New York. Bianna, good morning.
Good morning, John. This quaint town of 3,000 people is still in mourning and in shock this morning following that crash. CBS News has confirmed that Prestige, the limo company involved in the crash, had 4 of its vehicles taken out of service after inspections over the last 24 months. Saturday's accident is raising other safety concerns for the limo industry. There has been a deadly limo accident every year in the U.S., at least since the year 2000. Those crashes are blamed for at least 68 deaths. Kris Van Cleave is in Washington showing us what many of these incidents have in common. Kris, good morning.
Good morning. We know adults say that only about 28% of them don't wear their seatbelt every time they're in the back seat. And in this limo, you don't even have that option. So even if you wanted to buckle up, there's no seatbelt back here. And that can be a big risk if this vehicle is full, because there's all of this kind of debris over here. There's no airbag over here in the event of an accident. We also know that passengers not wearing a seatbelt are 8 times more likely to die in a crash.
Oh my God.
These jarring dash camera videos show what happens when a passenger in the back doesn't wear a seatbelt. Seatbelt use, or the lack of it, may help investigators understand why so many people died in Saturday's New York limo crash. Research shows backseat passengers are less likely to buckle up. And while nearly every state requires front seat passengers to wear a seatbelt, 22 states do not have a similar law for those in the back. Nearly half of all traffic deaths last year were unbelted.
All of the occupants being belted means that it's safer for everyone.
DEBORAH HERSMAN runs the National Safety Council and is a former chair of the NTSB.
When you have the dynamics of people colliding against hard surfaces and against each other in a crash, the outcomes can be significant.
Oh my God.
In the 2014 limo crash that nearly killed comedian Tracy Morgan and left another man dead, the NTSB found none of the passengers were wearing seatbelts, which contributed to the severity of their injuries. Federal regulators have limited oversight authority of limos because most don't cross state lines, so the laws are left up to the cities and states. Following this 2015 limo crash on Long Island that killed 4, a special grand jury found limos with custom aftermarket modifications to accommodate more passengers can lack important safety features and urged New York's governor to establish a task force on limo safety. The report said if nothing changes, there is bound to be another tragedy.
We should note that this limousine is not the same as the one that was involved in the New York State crash. We don't know a whole lot about that limousine in particular. The National Limo Association did not respond to our requests for comment, but HERSMAN says she would like to see better clarity and consistency in the laws. She compared them to Frankenstein laws for Frankenstein vehicles that have been modified after they were originally built. She also says the record keeping on how common these accidents are needs to get better. Bianna?
And as Tony had told us, the passengers allegedly texted friends saying that they were concerned with the status of the limousine. So many questions still unanswered. Kris, thank you. And our coverage from Schoharie continues in our next half hour. We'll hear from relatives of some of the family members and close friends who were killed in this accident. But right now, let's go back to Vlad in Studio 57. Vlad, you know, you look at an image inside of a limo and you think of so many people when you were in high school, what have you, when you go to prom, weddings. The first thing people that enter a limo don't look for is a seatbelt. They look for comfort and having fun with their friends.
And the images in Kris Van Cleave's story were absolutely horrific of showing what happens if you're not wearing a seatbelt.
It's another reminder about the importance of it, because when you look at that van or that limo, it seems pretty much intact. So you're thinking how many people could died, but when you look at that video to see the neck snapping that way, and we still don't know exactly how they died, but when you can see the neck snapping that way, you can understand why the death toll would be so high.
And as you said earlier, you know, just in an instant, those pictures from Kris's piece, how quickly it can go to being, you know, you're going forward and then suddenly you're going sideways into a very hard surface.
Indeed. Bianna, thank you very much. We'll check in with you a little later.